So, I've talked about before that cloning is a great mental model. Another great mental models is doing things which have asymmetry, and doing things where downside is muted or non-existent, and upside is unknown. And in fact, if you look at a person like Jeff Bezos or Amazon, that's what they do. They basically throw a lot of stuff against the wall. They're all relatively small bets. Most of them don't work, but a few do. And then when they do, you get huge payoffs. And we see that investing too. Like for example, we talked about my Satyam investment, right? So the 10,000 not working out is was like 1% of my portfolio at the time. When I look back on the lunch and what it led to, none of this was planned. The plan was just thank Mr. Buffett, and that would be the end of it. And this repeatedly happens in life. Like for example, when I started my first business, I took 70,000 in credit card debt, and 30,000 emptied out my retirement account. The downside was just the 30,000. 70,000 would get wiped out in bankruptcy. But the upside was millions. And so there was, and if it didn't work, I could just go back to take to a job or whatever. And that worked, and it, made me independently wealthy and all of that. So, uh, also, for example, in the last few years, I bought an insurance company. I raised a bunch of money, and of course, we've now returned most of it. That's a bet that didn't work. But again, even if it doesn't work, there's no downside. It was basically we were where we started, and we didn't really lose anything. So basically, when I look back at a number of endeavors, I think the combination of cloning and asymmetry, anytime you can identify asymmetry in some action or something that you could take, you should go for it. So, for example, Charlie told me, and I've seen it with him, is he likes to introduce randomness into his life. So sometimes when I'll meet him, from his coat pocket, he'll remove a bunch of letters he's received from people all over the world. There's a lot of people who write to him and whatever, and he'll go through a few letters and say, okay, this one, I'm going to have breakfast with this person. I'm just thinking, that guy's going to fall off his chair when someone from, Charlie's assistant contacts him or something. But Charlie likes that randomness. It has led to many great friendships, and in some cases business partnerships for him. And again, there's no downside. And so I moved to Austin, and what I do in Austin is at least a couple of times a month, I make incredible Assam tea, and a couple of times a month I invite people I don't know over for afternoon tea. In fact, there's a person coming tomorrow who I've never met. He kind of lives in Monaco, and he's got some apartments and stuff he owns here in Austin, and he's visiting. And he asked if I could meet him. I have no idea how that meeting's going to go or what's going to happen. But if it's not going so well, then the tea won't go for so long. And on the other hand, the last guy I met for tea, uh, I think was amazing. I mean, I think I'm meeting him again this Friday, and it's incredible. So I think this the asymmetry and cloning, like I cloned the randomness from Charlie, has a lot of benefits. And the friendship with Charlie, I always think when I meet Charlie, he's finally going to figure out one day the emperor has no clothes. He's going to figure out I'm a total fraud and whatever, and that'll be the end of my meetings with Charlie. And so far, surprisingly, that hasn't happened. And I told Charlie when I was moving to Austin, I said, listen, Charlie, just ignore the fact that I'm not in town. Anytime, you're twiddling your thumbs for dinner, you can just call me and I can take a Southwest flight over, and it's easy. And since I moved about 8-9 months ago, I think I've met him 3 times, twice for dinner, and once July for the harbor cruise in Santa Barbara with his family, which was really special, on his catamaran that he designed. So Anyway, like I said, I think that it's led to so many things, and I think I should do more. I don't do enough with asymmetry. I think Amazon does an awesome job with asymmetry. I think Tencent does an awesome job with asymmetry. Um, I think Facebook does a terrible job with asymmetry. So the difference between Amazon and Facebook, even though you didn't ask, is the two Jeffs throw a lot of stuff against the wall, and um, basically most stuff doesn't work, but it's small bets. And at Meta, there's a massive multi-billion single bet, and good luck with that. That kind of violates the rules.